This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
For your information, Lisa Sugar talks with Congressman Lou Barletta about legislation he introduced that comes down hard on cities seen as sanctuaries for illegal immigrants. Good evening and thank you for joining us at FYI. I'm Ken Kara. Let's get to our headlines from FYI and the Hazleton Standard Speaker. An Allentown man who was found guilty of killing a Tamaqua woman will spend the rest of his life in prison. 26-year-old Anthony Heath received life in prison plus 16 years from a Lehigh County judge on Wednesday. Heath was found guilty in the murder of 35-year-old Angela Staggerwall in June. The murder happened on January 31st of 2014. There was a fatal crash in Foster Township on Tuesday evening. 31-year-old Noel Little of Freeland was pronounced dead at the scene. Around 6:40, an SUV driven by 68-year-old Stephen Pompella of Whitehaven was traveling at a high rate of speed toward the intersection of State Route 940 and North Lehigh Gorge Drive. Pompella was turning left from 940 onto North Lehigh Gorge Drive when Little's motorcycle hit his passenger side. Little was not wearing a helmet. The Pennsylvania State Police have named a local realtor as a person of interest in a fraud case. The release says 45-year-old Ignacio Beato is suspected of conducting fraudulent real estate transactions. Beato allegedly accepted deposits, fees, and even the full purchase price for properties and kept the money for himself. State Police say this is a multi-agency investigation and there could be several victims. No charges have been filed against Beato. Police in Schuylkill County are still awaiting autopsy results of two people in Ashland, but say the deaths may be a murder-suicide. Police found 57-year-old Karen Kimmel and 55-year-old Donald Ray Erb dead inside 2031 Walnut Street in Ashland on Monday night. Ashland Police Chief Mark O'Hearn says there's no danger to the public. Officers were asked to do a welfare check by family members at the residence on Monday. Schuylkill County Coroner Dr. David Moylan says Kimmel's autopsy is scheduled for Wednesday evening and Erb's is set for Thursday. Here's some new details on a drug-making arrest in Hazel Township. Yesterday, we told you 32-year-old Marty J. Kelly of 500 Ridge Avenue in Hazel Township faces several felony charges and is accused of making MDMA or ecstasy in his home. A press release from the state attorney general's office says that the lab in Kelly's home was one of the largest discovered in the state in recent memory. Kelly is a former owner of the nightclub Pulse on West Broad Street in the city. Pulse closed its doors a while back. A towing company who is on suspension in the city of Hazleton is appealing to Luzerne County Court. DeLuca Auto Repair and Towing Manager Cynthia DeLuca filed the paperwork saying they were denied due process with the suspension. The petition also says DeLuca's right of political speech were violated. DeLuca was suspended over comments posted on social media. A revised version of the 3-year suspension issued by Hazleton Police Chief Frank DeAndrea says, quote, comments on a Facebook post under Hazleton Corrupts that was created by DeLuca's account accused the Hazleton Police Department, Mayor Joe Iannuzzi, Frank Vito, and himself of being corrupt and accepting bribes and improperly discriminating against your towing company, which is untrue, unquote, himself being DeAndrea. DeLuca says she never posted the comments. She also says her Facebook account was hacked and that she reported that to Facebook and brought the comments to DeAndrea's attention. The city of Hazleton will plead their case in court in August. There's a free healthcare clinic on Thursday for people without medical insurance or assistance. The clinic starts at 5 p.m. at Catholic Social Services Family Center at 106 South Church Street in Hazleton. Registration is from 5 to 6 p.m. and the clinic runs on a first-come, first-served basis. The clinic is for people 18 years of age and older with conditions like cold or flu, minor infections, aches, pains, sprains, and rashes. There's a free clinic every month on the second Tuesday and the fourth Thursday of the month. The clinic is sponsored by the nonprofit group Greater Hazleton Health Clinic. Earlier this month, Lisa Sugar caught up with Congressman Lou Barletta to talk about the Enforce the Law for Sanctuary Cities Act that he supported. The act passed through the House of Representatives. The act would deny certain funding for jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate with immigration officials, according to a press release from Barletta's office. While Barletta supported the bill, he prefers legislation he wrote up called the Mobilizing Against Sanctuary Cities Act. Barletta's legislation has even harsher penalties for sanctuary cities.
My experience as a mayor here in Hazleton, taught me a sad lesson back in 2006, May 10th, when Derek Kishine, father of 3 children, was shot by Pedro Cabrera, who had been arrested 6 times before he came to Hazleton in the country illegally, took Derek's life. Not long after that, that began my crusade of the issue of illegal immigration. And I remember speaking in central Pennsylvania. A young couple came up to me and told me about their daughter, Carly Snyder. She was 20 years old. She was studying to be a veterinarian. Her next door neighbor was an illegal alien from Honduras. He had been arrested in Houston, another sanctuary city, let go, came and broke into Carly's house. The father was telling me the story, and a tear was rolling down his cheek as he said this man stabbed his daughter 37 times. Carly had knife wounds in the palms of her hand and knife wounds in her back. She bled to death on the kitchen floor. He said, "I came here because you're now speaking for my daughter." I don't forget those. And this recent murder of Kate Steinle in San Francisco just opens up the wounds all again, is how many innocent citizens need to be murdered before we stop the don't ask, don't tell policies of illegal immigration. I was sued as a mayor for wanting to enforce federal laws and made an example out of, but yet over 200 mayors believe they are kings and are defying federal laws, creating safe havens for illegal aliens and also for terrorists who can come in the country and be protected by the government that they want to kill. That's ludicrous. My bill is getting a lot of attention, and I'm not going to stop until it passes. And what it will do is it'll stop all federal dollars to any city that declares itself a sanctuary city.
How big of a deal is this going to be in the presidential race?
I think it's a huge deal. I think it's the reason Donald Trump has jumped to the center. I've said it when I was mayor, when people said illegal immigration is not a big issue in the polls. I said, well, just watch the faces of people when they begin to talk about it. Donald Trump said what many people believe. And he wasn't afraid. He doesn't need any money. He doesn't need anybody's donation. So he can say what he wants. And I do believe that it is going to be a big issue in the presidential election. And any of the candidates who are afraid or want to sidestep this issue, I believe they won't be in this race very long.
On Wednesday, Barletta announced he will vote no on the Obama administration's agreement with Iran over nuclear programs. Barletta says, quote, "I am gravely concerned about this deal and am extremely skeptical about the wisdom of it." Unquote. He adds that the Obama administration submitting the deal to the United Nations before presenting it to the American people's representatives in Congress adds insult to injury. We have Barletta's full statement posted on our Facebook page. Still to come on FYI, a special extended discussion with Dave Seaman, the Standard Speaker's sports editor. And after this break, our Healthy Living segment is all about the Valley Grade 8 race in Cunningham on Saturday. Before we break, a message from Falvella Law.
Viewer question: how do you challenge someone's claim to the decedent's property?
Well, that doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. And to the family of the decedent, it's a very important issue. I could just relate to you one particular incident that we had where the decedent had a rather large IRA account with a brokerage firm, and when we contacted that brokerage firm, they said, "Oh no, we're paying this to this other person who was not even a family member." And we said, "Wait a minute, now get us some proof on that the decedent named them the beneficiary on that account." What they provided to us, we didn't think was particularly sustainable. So what we did is we had to file, and in the same situation, you would have to file a petition in the Orphans Court Division. This particular case was here in Luzerne County. We got our witnesses together, including an expert in account management, and we went to a trial. And we had a trial before the Orphans Court judge, who decided that, in fact, we were right, the brokerage house was wrong, and ordered the brokerage house to pay the account to our client, who was the decedent's son. As I said, it doesn't happen too often, but certainly it's an important issue. And if it does happen, you can't just rely on what you are told, particularly if it's something that's odd or different or something you don't agree with. And if you don't agree with, you must ask for documented proof that it was the intent of the decedent to have that account go by beneficiary designation to someone outside the family.
This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
Well, can't believe it, but one of the area's premier events is right around the corner. Valley Day and the Valley Day Grade 8 race and 5K taking place August 1st, right there in the borough of Cunningham. It's a beautiful event, and it's all going to benefit some great causes, the Cunningham Valley Civic Organization and the Valley Food Pantry. Here to tell us all about it today, we have the co-race directors, Brian Early and also Amy Cartwright. Amy, I'm going to start with you. Why is this race so important to the borough of Cunningham?
Well, it does bring a lot of people out that day besides Valley Day. I think, just community-wise, it's important. It does raise money for very important organizations in our Cunningham Valley, like CVCO, which is important for the pool, the park, Shooting Stars, the parades, Valley Day, as well as the Valley Food Pantry. And that's something that's really dear to my heart. Being a dietitian, I want to make sure that, area people have the food that they need, and that they can go to the Valley Food Pantry to get that.
Very nicely said. This is true. Now, I was there last year. We were covering it, Kenny Kara and myself, and there were a lot of people down there, Brian, for this race. So this is really taking off and getting huge.
Yeah, it started with about 80 runners, and last year we were well over 200. The donations each and every year that we've been able to give to the organizations have almost doubled each year since we've been doing this. So it's a very needed fundraiser for both of these organizations. Amy and I got involved with it about 5 years ago when there used to be the Valley Grade 8 race. And the people that were organizing it didn't want to do it anymore because it is a lot of work. So we decided we wanted to keep that tradition of the Valley Grade 8 race going. One thing that was near and dear to me when I was growing up was running the Valley Day 9-mile race. So we had talked about it, and we decided to move the race from May to August 1st, or whenever Valley Day was, so that we had that race again, on Valley Day.
All right, well, it's a great idea, and it's really taken off. For anybody out there who wants to get involved, what do they have to do so that they're eligible to run?
Just run. No, we
Sign
will
up
have.
in advance?
Yes, you can sign up in advance. We do have online registration, or they can come down to the CVCO the morning of at 7 o'clock is registration. 8 a.m. is the race start. Both races start at the same time. Again, there is an 8-miler and a 5K, so you'll be able to run the streets of Cunningham. But again, we'll give you the information so that you can put on the website for any kind of registrations that you want to do.
And this is drawing people of all levels, like staunch runners, but just beginners, everybody.
And young children. We have a 12 and under group, so we do have a lot of, kids running as well as 70 plus. So it's pulling a lot of area runners and runners from outside the area. In fact, our winner last year for the 8-miler was a female winner from, I believe, the Wilkes-Barre area. And again, it was very exciting to see that. And so we're becoming a very popular race, which is great.
Wow. And the race route, they're going around Cunningham?
The race route goes around Cunningham and then out Walnut Avenue, out towards the old Turnpike. It's a great course. It's not overly hilly, so anybody that is afraid of Main Street Cunningham, that's about the only hill that's on it. It's really not too bad. It's a very nice course, shaded. We have a lot of water stations out there. You're within walking distance of going to Valley Day. So if anybody's coming to the race, you can park down at the race and walk up to Valley Day as soon as the race is over.
All right, well, I think the perfect scenario is you run the race or walk the race, you make room for all that great food at Valley Day, so there you go. You got a win-win situation. For all the details on how you can get involved to make this the best race ever for Valley Day, we have the information up on your screen. We hope you'll come out and support this wonderful cause.
Time now for FYI News 13 weather.
Blue skies on a Wednesday in Hazleton. Sounds like a country song. This is going to sound like your local weather forecast from the National Weather Service, and that's because it is tonight. We can expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 67 degrees. On Thursday, there's a hazardous weather outlook for our area as showers and thunderstorms will be around our area in association with a cold front. Storms will be capable of producing very heavy rainfall with the risk of localized flash flooding, and there is a risk of a few storms producing damaging winds. So stay alert on Thursday. There is a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. That's mainly between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Partly sunny day, high of 85 degrees. On Thursday night, partly cloudy. Our low will be 63. For Friday, sunny with a high of 82. Friday night is clear with a low of 62. And then Saturday, the sun is back with a high of 84. Saturday night, clouds move into the area at low of 61. Sunday, another sunny day with a high of 84. And then Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low of 62 degrees.
Tonight's weather is brought to you by Valley High, the area's oldest ice cream and fast food restaurant. Stop on in for a cold treat including our ice cream and yogurt, or some hot food including our burgers, hot dogs, fries, and much more. That's Valley High, Route 93 in West Hazleton. Treat yourself today.
Green screen lottery numbers now. Your midday winning Pennsylvania lottery numbers: pick 2, 4, 1, pick 3, 9, 3, 3, pick 4, 2, 1, 7, 0, and pick 5, 7, 9, 3, 4, 8. Lottery numbers on FYI brought to you by Boyer Insurance Agency. They have 2 locations to serve you, one in Cunningham on Sugarloaf Avenue and one in Nescapec on Broad Street. Call them in Cunningham at 570-788-3543 and in Nescapec at 570-752-7683. Lisa wasn't really around today, so I extended sports. Check it out next.
This is FYI News 13 Sports.
It's time for another jam-packed Dave Day here on the Sportscast. Dave Seaman, the sports editor of the Standard Speaker, is back with us. And Dave, the Little League State Tournament starting for the 9 and 10-year-olds this week. You were there on Friday as Lehigh took the Section 6 title. They beat Valley West in the decisive game. Dave, I got to see Valley West a few times in that tournament. And I said I watched with my cousin Gino Cara, the Hazleton area baseball coach at the high school. And you should have heard him. I had to turn down the volume on the highlights because he was making, so impressed with these kids making defensive plays for Valley West. Jeff Antolic really did a good job. A lot of these Little League coaches teaching the fundamentals. It's not like some people say, I have to go watch a 9 and 10-year-old Little League game. This is good baseball you're seeing.
You are. You're seeing like kids that want to excel at the game, and the coaches are there. Like you said, Jeff Antolic, who's been around playing in the Yankee system, coaching at the high school level. He understands the game, and he passes that love and enthusiasm for the game on to the kids. And the kids showed on the field. I mean, they were very well skilled. They knew how to move runners up. They hit for power. They pitched well. Overall, a good tournament, and I was happy to be able to cover it on Friday night.
Of course, Valley East, they advanced in Section 6, almost made it to the championship round of the 10 and 11-year-old tournament. You mentioned the Valley West 11 and 12-year-old All-Stars also won one game at their Section 6 tournament. Dave, I thought it was interesting. Hall of Fame inductions from Major League Baseball. John Smoltz from the Atlanta Braves, he said something I think you're a champion of too. He said, listen, if kids are playing baseball, I think they should play other sports as well and get experience.
I agree with that too. I mean, you demand too much emphasis on one sport, you place that, and you lose your priorities a little bit. I mean, a 10-year-old should be able to experience more than just going to the baseball field. Play with your friends, go swimming, play some basketball, try football, try anything, whether it's even in the arts. I mean, the kids need to be well-versed, and eventually they'll find out what they like, and I think that's a smart strategy, and somebody like John Smoltz to get the opportunity to use that opportunity to speak about not specializing in one sport. I think it was kudos to him.
Dave, let's switch gears. Big Ten Media Days coming up. James Franklin, always a good interview from Penn State. If you're going to talk to another Big Ten coach, who would you want to interview? I think I'd go with Pat Fitzgerald, who's become kind of the elder statesman in the Big Ten, surprisingly, at Northwestern. He just seems very well-spoken, and I like his football philosophies.
I agree. I love Pat Fitzgerald, too, ever since he was a player. Unfortunately, had an injury in his last year when Northwestern won second of back-to-back Big Ten championships. Whoever thought that, Northwestern. But and he stepped in for the late Randy Walker Walker when he unfortunately passed away, and he kept the program going. And Northwestern's a fun team to watch. Not so for Penn State fans last year because they really did a number on Penn State, or for Notre Dame fans for that matter. But Northwestern's a fun team to watch. It's just one of these years, Northwestern's going to be that team that, like, when they finally win the close games, they're going to surprise a lot of people and have a 9-10 win season. Will it be this season? That's why they play the games.
They're looking for a bounce back year. And David, was interesting. Northwestern in '95 with Pat Fitzgerald was a team that kind of dethroned Penn State from their trying to defend their Big Ten title. And then last year, they really, after Penn State's strong start, they exposed the weaknesses, the chinks in the armor of this Penn State football team that kind of lingered throughout the rest of the season. This year, is there anyone who could challenge Ohio State? You said there's a reason they play the games, but realistically, is there anyone but Ohio State coming out of the Big Ten? I think Michigan State could give them a run, and if it's going to be someone, I think it has to be someone from the East. I don't think anyone from the West is going to do it in the title game.
I agree. I think Michigan State's that team. The Spartans have played in so many big games over the past several years, winning a lot of those big games. This year they have to play at Ohio State, I believe, so that'll be a little bit more difficult. I believe they go on the road to Michigan, which is always a rivalry game. So Michigan State will have its work cut out for it, but the Spartans are loaded, a lot of skill, and I think they're probably they are one of the top well-coached teams in the whole conference.
Amazing what Mark D'Antonio has done with that program. And Dave, one final thing before we get out of here. Big race at Pocono this weekend. A lot of them. We have the Truck Series coming, NASCAR Series coming. So it's going to be a big weekend at Pocono. That and more. Dino Alberto will be here on FYI and also with the Standard Speaker doing some feature stories in that for you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have our team coverage. Dino will do some stories for us. We'll be getting some stories from the Associated Press as well as Scott Walsh, who does a fantastic job from our sister paper, the Scranton Times-Tribune. He does a fantastic job covering all angles. So we're going to cover all angles of the upcoming race at Pocono.
As always, look forward to the coverage in the Standard Speaker and look forward to having Dave right here on FYI. It's Wednesday, and here's some delicious alliteration. It's signature steak night at Bottlenecks. All of their signature steaks are only $9.95 plus bottomless soup and salad for only $2.95.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. First tonight, Community Bible Fellowship Church will be holding a free lunch on Sunday, August 2nd from noon to 2 p.m. The church is located at 458 West Spruce Street in Hazleton. Eat-in only available. For more information, please call 570-436-2061. Our next announcement, the Hazleton Area Boxing Club will be holding their first annual golf tournament Sunday, August 2nd at Edgewood in the Pines Golf Course. Registration will be held at 8 a.m. with a 9 a.m. shotgun start. Cost is $85 per person, includes cart, green fees, light lunch, and dinner. If you can't make the golf tournament, cost for dinner is just $40. For more information, please call 570-401-6409. And finally, Making a Difference Ministries will be holding a free concert at the Christian Coffee House Hilltop Cafe located in Plains. The concert will feature Stephen L. Perillo and will foster cross-denominational fellowship, helping Christians work together for the greater good. For more information, please call 570-899-2264. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Angelo M. Catrone of Freeland. Memorial will be held at the convenience of the family and under the direction of the John J. Pustai Funeral Home. Dolores J. Dunleavy, formerly of Freeland. Services were held today from the Anderson and Campbell Funeral Home in Toms River, New Jersey. And Grace A. Cardisco of Upper Lehigh. The McHugh-Wilczek Funeral Home will announce complete arrangements.
This newscast is over, but stay in touch. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/FYNews13. Get breaking news there and at standardspeaker.com. Take it easy, everyone.